Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, box trolls and buttons, missing links of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, Jay, and with me, I have my co-host, making up a song about John. He's a peach, he's a pal, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah, that be me. Why are you singing?
Because of the song, and that was the first quote that jumped out to me.
Okay. Yeah.
I have the perfect end quote. I'm
Alright.
gonna build this up this whole episode. But yeah,
Alright.
Laika. This is a
Laika.
podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, whatever else we want to talk about. This week we are wrapping up our series on the films of Laika, at least thus far. They obviously have an upcoming release that we will be talking about, hopefully. But yeah, before we do that, these are our rankings.
Rankings. Laika.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a series. I was hoping you would enjoy these movies a little bit more than I think you ended up doing. This is kind of an out of left field series for us that seemed like a good idea when I planned it. And
I mean, I enjoyed it enough, you know.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Without further ado, let's get into our rankings. At number 6, with a score of 3.3 out of 5, we have Missing Link. John, this is your number 6. This is also my number 6 on my personal list. I should say we are basing these based off the scores that we gave the films on the episodes we talked about them. So if you are curious to hear more, you can go back and hear our reasoning behind those scores.
Yeah, Missing Link. It does make sense why it's at our bottom. Compared to the rest of the Laika films, this is just the most generic one. And just not as appealing story-wise or even visually as well.
Yeah, we had issues with the lack of excitement to the storytelling, and then also the use of digital elements in the animation that were maybe detracting a little bit more than some of the previous films had.
Sure.
But
yeah.
You can go back to our episode on that to hear a more in-depth discussion. Number
Yeah.
5, this isn't technically a Laika film, but Laika did do some work on it, so we did cover it for the podcast. With a score of 3.5 out of 5, it is Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. John, on your list, this is a number 4. On my list, this is at number 5.
Yeah, this was the first one we did, and so this is kind of where we started basing our scores. So, yeah, initially I thought this was going to be like at the bottom, then I checked our notes, it's like, oh wait, no, Missing Link is before this one. Yeah. I mean, this one, it has, the solid Henry Selick animation.
Though Henry Selick didn't work on it.
Or, well, yeah.
It has the stop motion animation.
Shut up. You know what I mean.
Yes. It has that style. It definitely feels like Tim Burton kind of going back to the well and trying to do what he did. I mean, obviously Henry Selick did it, but what his style that worked so well for Nightmare Before Christmas, but not quite recapturing that same magic.
Right. Yeah, I think what I remember from this, if I remember anything about this, I think I didn't love just how muted all the colors were, generally, but there were some fun animation and stuff. It's a weird story that we felt like needed something more or something. I don't even remember what this was a while ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, number 4 with a score of 3.8 out of 5, we have The Box Trolls. John, you have this on your list below Corpse Bride at number 5. On my list, it's number 4.
Interesting.
This was maybe and I don't want to phrase it this way because it sounds so negative, but it was maybe the biggest disappointment for me of this, going through this series and rewatching this. A film that I had previously really liked, and rewatching it only kind of liked. I think it is fun, and it has some really interesting and engaging elements. But The writing isn't nearly at the level of Laika's best films. It's a little bit
Right.
closer to being a generic kids movie. Not as much as Missing Link, but it's on that path.
Yeah, it certainly was. I don't even know what to think. Uh Again, go listen to our episode for more thoughts. I'm sure I had
Yeah.
some thoughts at the time. Um but I don't now, unfortunately. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, on to number 3 with a score of 3.1 out of 5. We have Paranorman.
Mm,
This is both of our number 3 as well. The rest of these line up with the overall rankings with our personal rankings. This is the first one we're talking about here where we had a guest on the episode, Sam, who always a wonderful guest, and they're a massive fan of this film. So that was a really fun conversation to have. Yeah, this is a sort of horror parody type thing, but one that has a lot of intelligence in how it's dealing with its themes and characters. Yeah, I really like this one.
yeah, I enjoyed it too. I think like my main criticism about it was some of the underutilization of like the connection between the characters, um, and also
Yeah,
like how things that were just set up weren't really utilized to its fullest potential, such as Norman's ability to speak to the dead. But like there were some fun moments. Um, if you like this aesthetic, it's pretty neat. Um, but
yeah,
go listen to that episode because Samario had more things to say about it.
yeah. They and it is a film that warrants a long conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 2 with a score of 4.3 out of 5, we have Kubo and the Two Strings. Again, this is my number 2 and your number 2 as well.
Yeah, I I liked the setting of like a Japanese inspired story. Um, Again, my main criticism was mainly just like how the cast didn't really reflect the characters themselves, ethnicity wise, which isn't like too terrible of a thing, but it was a noticeable thing. But like this is one where uh I praise the animation for like being solid and have like really cool fight animation and cool lighting,
Yeah.
something that they were able to focus on because they allowed room for that with their CG technology, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it feels like this one hits the balance a little bit better between the CG element sort of supplementing the stop motion elements rather than kind of taking a little bit more focus. It's mainly backgrounds and stuff,
Yeah,
whereas Missing Link is doing it for crowd shots. And yeah, here it is. They are using that time to create something that you almost never see in stop motion, which is these elaborate action scenes with supernatural elements going on and very martial arts inspired. And yeah, I think the story as well here is just very, very well constructed. The
mm-hmm.
way it is engaging with and subverting these sort of folkloric tropes in a
Yeah,
fun way.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
wish.
emotional resonance of finding out what the significance of the titular two strings are
Mhm.
was such a perfect moment.
Yeah, I wish the ending itself could have been a little more clear to me personally with how things are dealt with the Moon King, but besides that, it was like a fun, solid adventure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, number 1 with a score of 4.6 out of 5, putting it in our top 5 ranked of all of the films we've ever covered. Coraline, Henry Selick's Coraline. We both have this at number 1.
I
Again,
mean,
another episode we did this episode with my friend Rachel, and another massive fan of this one who,
mhm.
yeah, it's undeniable the care that went into it and the interesting story elements. I know you're less of a fan of this one, but you do seem to have had a more positive response to this than some of the other ones here.
Yeah, I mean, but the only really issues I have towards this are like mainly like trauma dealt to me as a child, and how some aspects of this are a little inappropriate that I kind of wish weren't there. But like, it is a really fascinating story. The animation and Coraline as a central character is great. She's a great protagonist. Pretty smart, and like the stakes are decent. There's like a lot of fun side things. It is interesting and weird and fun in a way that the rest didn't quite appeal to me as this. I even like the visual aesthetic of like the character designs in this one the best. Um, yeah, Coraline.
Yeah, it is. It is a very rewarding film to both watch and especially rewatch. There's a
Yeah.
lot of depth here,
Hmm.
and yeah, it is sort of the Laika at its best in terms of just such a triumphant debut for the studio.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad to like finally have finished that film after years of like avoiding it. Um, I am also glad that we were able to go through Leica in general, because it was also one of those things that you would constantly mention to me every once in a while. It's like, John, you know the studio Leica? I'm like, no. And you'd have to repeat the same conversation with me several times, like, yeah, Leica, it's the stop motion animation studio. They did Corolla. And I'm like, cool. And then I'd forget about it. But yeah, now finally, I've finally gone through the films, and yeah, they are a stop motion studio.
Yeah, I do hope you eventually revisit stuff like Coraline and Kubo, because I think there is stuff in those that you would find rewarding, maybe on a rewatch when you aren't having to watch this for a podcast.
Oh sure, yeah.
But yeah,
I
no,
think
I'm
Coraline
glad
is
we did
definitely
these.
something I'm likely to revisit at some point, but
Yeah.
we'll see about the rest.
Oh, yeah, I had fun with these. I'm glad we did these, even though it's a
Mhm.
little out of left field for the podcast.
Sure.
Which, speaking of, our next series is also going to be a bit out of left field. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie Movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon. Again, thank you everyone for being here through our Laika series, and don't leave me. Don't. I'll die without you.
Perfect.
Oh, that was my big ending line. Bye,
All right.
Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.